Hello, everyone, and welcome to OHSCA Interviews. I'm Vincenzo Calla, and I'm your host for today's episode. Today, I'm happy to have with me the MPP for Missisauga Erin Mills, Sheref Sabawy. Sheref was first elected in the 2018 election and is the very first MPP for the new riding of Missisauga Erin Mills, or at least it was new in 2018. He has worked on many community activities and campaigns, including the Mississauga Mayor's Advisory Committee under Mayor Hazel McCallion, as well as working with the Interfaith Council of Peel before running in 2018. Sheref is the first Egyptian-born MPP in Ontario's history, and he currently serves as the Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Heritage, Sport, Tourism and Culture Industries, Minister MacLeod. Thank you, Sheref, for your time, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I really always have the pleasure to join the community media, and especially if it's related to youth, because we need the youth, because the youth is the future of this party, the future of Canada. And we are really very, very happy always to see some youth involved. And I would love to encourage that as much as I can. As an IT professor, I work with lots of students and graduates and postgraduates. And I always say, we need the youth to be involved because we need somebody who have some experience to hand them out the responsibility after we leave the Queen's Park.
It's so true. And that's always what we do. We started in 2020. We started our group in 2020. And that's really been our mission. Reach out, get as many young people involved in our campaigns, in our projects like this. You're our 36th interview. We've had 35 other fantastic federal conservatives and provincial conservatives on the show. And we're great to have you today. So
Thank you.
You're going to see in some of the questions as we're approaching an election at this time, we're going to see some election questions. So get ready, and we hope you enjoyed today's interview. So we're going to start off with the question and answer segment, and all these questions come from our high school members on our team. So the first question is, you have been involved in many community projects and campaigns. So Rain from Toronto wants to ask, how are you and your colleagues at Queen's Park preparing for this next election, and what have you learned from the campaigns that you have worked on?
Sure. So let me tell you, this campaign is going to be absolutely different than any other campaign or anybody ran before, for multiple reasons. Number one reason, we are coming out of COVID. And there is a lot, we have been locked down for 2 years, and we are now in the process of getting people to go back to the normal life. And part of that going back to normal life is getting, again, involved in politics, involved in campaign, involved in election. So that's the first reason. The second reason is because of COVID, there's a lot of activities now moved from the regular world to the virtual world, to the social media, to the internet, to the online. So that's will need us to reach out. Part of our reach out capabilities is to reach out to the people who are already feeling now more comfortable being online or in the social media or in any virtual activities, which will need us to reach out to them there, because they are not going to come here. So that's for those reasons. I think that it's going to be a little bit of a different, but we are getting ready. We are working with a lot of youth to make sure that we are active on the social media, and I hope you are all join us, follow us, share the information, the good news with us. That's part of the reach out. The other capabilities of reach out using lots of the new platforms like Clubhouse, for example, like any other media tools or applications where we can have massive number of people reachability. That's of course parallelly with the regular door knocking and town halls and debates and everything else. So it's going to be busy 3 months.
Well, for sure. And I mean, I can attest to that. I mean, in the local in the federal campaign in the fall, I was volunteering with my local candidate, and I was working in social media, and it's a whole other world. Like it's amazing how many people that you reach out through in social media, and this is the proof. The proof is in the pudding right here in this election, in this interview we're doing right now, I'm sure 100% of the people that have come to watch this interview are coming from social media, clicking on our links and watching this and subscribing all online. So that really is something. And before we go on to the next question, which also still has to do with this, it's also true that this election, as you mentioned, is different from any other election. I mean, we saw it with the federal campaign. We're going to see it with the municipal campaigns in the fall, but it's our election right in the middle, this provincial election. It's so important for the future of Ontario. Really, I've been saying it with a couple of MPPs. We've had some MPPs on this season, and we're getting some more on this season. But I'm in the process of booking them right now. But really, it's a fresh start for Ontario, and who's going to provide the best vision to start in Ontario as we go on. So that really is what it. That really is it. It's going to be so different.
Yeah, so like you know what, like I would like to say something. Maybe I think this is a right moment to say it. I have been 36 years in IT. I am 36 years of experience in IT, in every aspect of IT, networking, security. I managed CIBC, parts of CIBC network. I managed HSBC network. I worked for Cisco, I worked for Motorola, I worked for Bell. I did national projects. So I have, I teach in George Brown Centennial Colleges as an IT professor. So I have a whole whack of experience in there. And when I meet with some people or youth saying, oh my God, Zoom is great. Like now we can see each other and we can talk and we can meet friends. Well, I did webinars when I was part of Cisco in 2000. That's 22 years ago. So there is a misunderstanding that the technology advanced and now we can do that. Actually, the technology was there a long time, but people didn't have the really courage to use it until we got into the COVID. And now we have to use whatever we have of tools, and people discovered Zoom. People discovered that they can work from home and do everything almost like in the office. People discovered that they can see each other and chat with each other and talk with multiple people in multiple countries at the same time. Some people, for the first time, reached out to their relatives overseas and start talking to them because they never had that kind of closeness with the tools. So I encourage that. This is part of what we dreamed of 20 years ago, and that's part of what we are going to use for this campaign, for sure, to reach out to people.
It's true, and it's something that we can take advantage of, and campaigns are forever changed. I mean, well, it was a long time ago, but last year we had Melissa Lantzman when she was in her nomination campaign, but now she's the MP for Thornhill, and we talked about how campaigns will forever change, and it's so true, and that's what we're going to see this election. So we're going to go into the second question, which is, as the Parliamentary Assistant to Lisa MacLeod, the Minister of Heritage, Sport, Tourism, and Culture Industries, as I mentioned before, what do you think your government can do to further welcome back more tourists to Ontario?
Well, you know what, like we are a very good touristic destination to the American tourism and of course international tourism, but in less numbers because we are too close. We're adjacent to the US. So that the biggest number of tourists come to Canada are the tourists coming from the US. So when we close the borders, whatever we can do here, it's not going to help that much because the source is locked down. So it's very similar that you have the main valve of the house shut, and now we are trying to repair whatever pipes inside the house and expecting water to come. There's none. So our hope now, as soon as the borders are open now, I think everything will come back to its original levels. In my opinion, it might exceed, actually. I think if everything went fine as expected, I think we're gonna have one of the best seasons for tourism in Canada, in the history of Ontario. And just to give idea to the audience, the Ministry of Heritage, Sports, Tourism, and Culture Industries contribution to the GDP of Ontario is $75 billion. That's bigger than forestry, agriculture, and mining of Ontario together. So this tourism is a huge resource for Ontario. And we will do all our best as soon as the borders are open, as soon as we are open to business as we are now, to stimulate the tourism, doing inviting customers to come, inviting conferences to come to Toronto area, inviting companies, film industry, which almost stopped in total. We have more movies shoot in Ontario than what number of movies got shot in Hollywood. So we need to get that back, because they come to here, we have a bigger space, we have a better technicians and available technicians, and we are cheaper. So we would like to open that door again, make sure it comes. One of the verticals which didn't get affected at all with the COVID was the gaming industry. So the gaming industry actually is exploding. The programming of games and online games and creating games, like software houses, are working and successfully creating a lot of work for programmers and IT guys to create those games you see here and there. Majority of time when I visited the Cisco head office in San Jose, more than 40% of the engineering force there are Canadians. We are the best engineering. So when that comes to work, that means lots of business coming to you.
Well, it's true. I mean, Ontario, our possibilities are endless. There's so much that we can do, and we're seeing that now. I mean, like I said, we're going to bounce back better than ever. I mean, just as an example, I'm going to refer back to this, but last year when Minister McLeod had that massive press conference and announcement at Ontario Place, how Ontario Place is going to come back, and I'm sure that you're a big part of working with that. Obviously, Ontario Place is coming back, and it's going to bring billions and billions in revenue back to Ontario to revitalize it, and it'll be paid for itself 10 times over when it's all done, and tourists can come and visit it, and it's going to be an amazing place. And just that's how we'll rebuild our economy. I mean, we had Will Bauma on last week, who's the Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Finance, and we talked about how our economy is still booming and how we're still going down. We're reducing that liberal deficit from 14 years, and that's even with the pandemic. Imagine once we exit the pandemic, how much more money we're going to make and bring economy of Ontario back up even more than it already is. It's amazing. Yes. And I'm going to go on to the next question. So it's also kind of talking about money and Ontarians and helping Ontarians, something that I know helping Ontarians is something that your government's really big on. So this is some recent stuff that's been happening. So recently, your government has helped Ontarians by removing tolls on some highways in the GTA. And also at the time of this filming, I think it was yesterday when we announced that the government announced that yearly license fees are going out the window now. So Jerry from Brampton wants to ask, what else do you think what else does the PC party have planned in the future to help Ontarians, and how can you further help Ontarians, especially now that we're exiting?
Let me split it into two different areas, businesses and people. So what we did for the small businesses and companies during the COVID is amazing. Like working with the federal government, we managed to give them $60,000 loan, with about 20,000 of those are forgivable. So if somebody wants and paid back 40,000 out of the 60 is done. So 20 grand, 40 as a loan. We give the businesses 20,000 up to 20,000 first grant to help them in the cash flow. Then we did it again in last April, another 20,000. Then when we did this lockdown, we give another 10,000. So the total of 50,000 grants from the provincial and 20 plus 40 loan working provincial federal. Not only that, we also give them a discount in the utilities, like we pay the electricity for them, we pay the property tax for them. We actually, in conjunction with the federal government, give them 75% of the rent. So only they pay 25%, the tenant of the business pay only 25% the landlord pay 25% or give away 25%, and the government pay 50%. So that to keep the businesses up and running. Also, when we start opening the businesses, we give up to 75% of the cost of the labor for the businesses who manage to get back to business. So we give them more, 75% of the workspace cost for them, payroll. That's for the businesses. Now, talking, of course, that's on top of the sanitizers and masks and everything else. And also we give them the mainstream project, which giving them money to get online. So convert their business to online. We give them grant up to, I think it was $4,000 per business to create their own site and start being online existence if they weren't. And that's for the business. For the people, we did multiple decisions to help the individuals of Ontario. And as we know that they are getting affected, and majority of them got, because of the lockdown, had to either work from home or stay at home in total. So we allowed we allowed the people to apply for some sick days. We approved 4 sick days for people who get diagnosed with COVID or whatever. They can stay home and get paid. The majority of the people who stayed home got the Sheref package, which is monthly payment to compensate them for their loss of income, as well as other packages for the people who are in WSIB and other services, social services, to be able to stay up and running and during the COVID time. Now we are opening. That was one of the first things we did, the $120 per year renewal for the car. That's basically straight money in the pocket of the people. Some households have multiple cars, so it's not 120, it's much more than that. And we did retroactively backward more money from this year and the last year because of the COVID. We also did urge companies to give some money back, rebate for the people, because the cars weren't used at their capacity during the COVID time, so they should save some money in the insurance costs. Also, we give a rebate on the electricity bills, so there's some money came back to the households on electricity consumption, reduce the pricing. Also, we made it because usually in the peak times, there is a higher rate for electricity, but people now staying at home all the time. So there's no peak time. Everybody is using electricity all the day. So we did a flat rate, lower, reduced cost for electricity for all the households across the 24 hours of the day, so that they can make use of electricity the whole day without paying the high rates they used to pay.
That's all amazing stuff, and it's all helping Ontarians, and all stuff that I hope that definitely all Ontarians were helped with, and hopefully that Ontarians remember when they go to the ballot boxes in June. And our last question of the segment is something that won't take too long, but just a quick little background. In this past federal election, the voter rate was quite low. A lot of people, even in the provincial elections, don't vote. A lot of people don't vote. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think the Ontario PC Party can do to encourage people that don't usually vote at all to get out and vote, and not only vote, but vote for our party, vote for the PC Party?
Honestly, Vince, I have to tell you that, in my opinion, I think we might get better ratings this time than last time. I know that many people had some suspect about the Conservative Party, the stigma in GTA, at least, the stigma around the intentions of conservatives, cut services, save money, and all kind of that. So they were really voting for us with some suspicious, I would say. They are saying, we hope that we didn't do a mistake or something. I think during this time, especially even during the COVID, as the leadership of our Premier, Doug Ford, and how much we did during the COVID time, I think we proved to have a very responsible, for the people, conservative government, managed to do even with the really, really bad circumstance we are in, we managed to navigate successfully. We managed to be the lowest jurisdiction in Canada in mortality rate, the best zone in maybe globally when it comes to vaccinations. We can see now the numbers are going down. We are ready to go, and hopefully that people understand that there's some hard decisions have been made, but we made it for a reason. And the only reason for that is to protect the people and the safety of the Ontarians. No government would really like or enjoy closing or lockdown. That means lots of consequences politically and financially, but we did that for only one sole reason: protecting the people of Ontario. And I'm very proud of every decision I was part of, and my contribution was the government of the Premier Doug Ford. I supported it because I think this is the right thing to do. None of us during any crisis like the COVID think about partisan or this is liberal, this is conservative. Everybody have only one concern: the people. There is no other concern or any other higher voice than how can we protect the people of Ontario? How can we make sure that we don't get hit with another wave, for another wave and another wave? I think there will be lots of discussions and debates. Yes, there's some polarizations because some people will have one focus on one item, but as a government, I have a bigger picture I have to take care of. Not one item, every item, and balance that. So I think that people will come to realize during those discussions that, well, maybe I didn't like they closed the gym, but overall it was good. Maybe I didn't like they closed the school, but overall it's okay. Or I even opening a school and closing a school, you will get beaten if you did, you will get beaten if you didn't. When we say open a school, some people are crying, saying, oh my God, it's not safe. When they close the school, another 50% say, oh my God, the mental health is affected. So there will be no 100% bulletproof solution, but there will be a combination of solutions to fit everyone. So with that said, I really would like to thank you very much, very, very much for reaching out to us. Please do that anytime. If you have any question, it will be my pleasure to join. It will be my pleasure to help as much as I can to enlighten some of the decisions, why we made it this way, what was the other parameters, because sometimes people don't see the bigger picture. They don't understand why we did it this way. But when we explain, I find it that majority of people think that that's logical. That makes sense.
It's so true. And you said so many great things, especially the fact that so many people got mad if you did something, but got mad if you didn't do something at the same time. And it's so true. And really, as we talked with Laurie Scott, your colleague Laurie Scott, a couple of weeks ago, you're running on your record now, and that's a pretty good record right now. So it's great, a great position to go into the election. So we're going to quickly move on to the very last part, and we say this to every single person. So it's advice for the next generation. So it's a quick question, especially as we're approaching an election. So what do you think young high school conservatives can do in order to get more politically active? One piece of advice you would give them.
Get involved. Join your campaign, join a leadership campaign, join an MP office, go and observe, understand how things done. Hear the kitchen, be part of the kitchen. You will learn a lot being in the kitchen. Don't be the guy who gets served the meal, be the guy who cooked the meal.
That's an amazing analogy, and that's such a good way to end off our interview. There's no shortage of campaigns. We have 124 ridings, 124 candidates, most likely full slate. I think I have no doubt that we'll run full slate. No shortage of experience that you can get involved in. So great way to end the interview. Thank you, Sheref, for your time today. It was so great, and we really appreciate you being with us. We wish you well, especially now as you're going to the election. We wish you well in the future, wish you well in the election. That is it. We hope you enjoyed today's interview. Look for more interviews coming soon. Make sure to follow our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok accounts, Ontario OHS Cons, for info about our next interview. For more great content, make sure to look at our website, OntarioHSConservatives.org, to learn more about us, see our projects for more great content. YouTube viewers, like this video, subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so you never miss a video. Podcast listeners, follow us and stay updated. So we hope to see you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you.